forecast. So you did just miss it at that last advisory update. We do have a brand new tropical storm that did just form in the Gulf waters. So again, tropical storm Helene has formed. That infrared satellite, just a little thumbnail there, is incorrect at this time. Didn't quite update. There we go. There's going to be the current sustained winds, 45 miles per hour. It did pick up some speed, tracking northwest at 12 miles per hour, and a slight drop in that pressure. So this advisory update just coming out from the National Hurricane Center at 10 a.m. We'll get that next one at 1 p.m. Hurricane hunters investigated it. They did finally find the center of that storm, showing that it had formed and again strengthening by 10 miles per hour with those sustained winds. A few just changes to note with the forecast track. They are expecting it to strengthen just a little bit earlier, very minor bit, as it pushes through the Yucatan Peninsula into the southern Gulf waters, heading into early tomorrow morning. So a little bit earlier for that strengthening, and then heading into Thursday night, becoming that major Category 3 hurricane as it races across the Gulf waters, really moving into a thriving environment. That rapid intensification is possible, making that landfall approach as that strong Category 3 hurricane. However, we could even see those numbers additionally go up even further. As mentioned, it's a good environment for the system, unfortunately, to be moving through. Warm Gulf waters, low wind shear. It's not having to interact with a lot of that. And then one very minor change was just about a track shift towards the west, just about that a little bit. So it's very minor, closer towards Appalachia Bay, still honing in closer towards the Big Bend region there in Florida. So we're staying on the west side of the system, which means we will see minor impacts here locally. Forecast models still staying pretty consistent with the track that the National Hurricane Center has there. Just a little bit of disagreement once it gets further inland for the Florida Panhandle there and where it's going to be tracking through Georgia. But taking a look at a futurecast model, this is going to be the GFS. We start to see some of that strengthening taking place heading into tomorrow morning as it pushes into the southern Gulf. And then just take a look at the timing of how quickly it's pushing through the Gulf waters heading into Thursday morning. And then later on Thursday evening, making that landfall approach. I will say that the GFS is much further towards the east than the National Hurricane Center currently has as that track. We'll still be seeing some of those showers and winds out of the north getting closer towards Thursday evening. But just a reminder, this is just one model. So breaking down the impacts that you can expect here locally in the Foxton viewing area. I've been seeing a lot of those questions going around from some of the folks that are visiting our local beaches. That rough surf, expecting that to begin Wednesday and Thursday. Please stay out of the Gulf waters beginning tomorrow. It's going to be life-threatening surf that we'll be experiencing at our local beaches. Protect yourself, protect others. Don't get in the water. We will also get a bit soggy getting closer towards Wednesday and Thursday and experience some of those breezy winds, gusts up to around 30 miles per hour. As always, that forecast track is subject to change. Our impacts will be a little greater if it shifts further towards the west, but if it continues on that easterly track, again, this is really all that we'll be expecting over the next few days. Coming up in just a little bit, I'm going to talk more about your forecast, we can expect heading into the weekend. All of those details are coming up soon. Vanessa.
All right, we're back.
Well, let's go ahead and talk more about your forecast because we do have Tropical Storm Helene, which did form at that 10 a.m. advisory update in the Northwest Caribbean Sea. Hurricane Hunter investigated, found the center, and so it got upgraded. The sustained winds now 45 miles per hour, picked up some speed, moving northwest at 12 miles per hour. Again, the system is expected to only strengthen even more heading into tomorrow and Thursday before making landfall in the Big Bend region of Florida. And rapid intensification underway as it quickly moves over the Gulf waters once it gets closer towards Thursday morning, Thursday evening as that landfall approach, and a very minor shift change just closer towards the west at this last update. But again, very minor, just about that much. So really just putting Appalachia Bay back into that, Tallahassee having that center push over it. Panama City still included in that cone, but none of the Fox 10 viewing area is included in the forecast path for Helene. We'll still be seeing some of those impacts, but pretty minor. So let's go ahead and talk more about what's steering this system and what's going to be keeping it further towards the east. So we're going to bump it up into the 500 millibar here and look into the upper level pattern. Here's going to be where we see Tropical Storm Helene. And over the next really 24 hours, we're going to start to see a ridge of high pressure begin to emerge here just off the coast of the Carolinas. And then also over the mid-south, we're going to have an upper level low. So this is going to be working to continue to push it further off towards the east. That upper level ridge of high pressure is going to be in that clockwise rotation, there we go, helping just to push it further up in that direction. So that's what's helping us steer it further towards the east away from us. It has that counterclockwise rotation, but also if you saw this on social media, something interesting may happen with Helene once it pushes further inland and also this upper level low. It's going to be something that we call the Fujiwara effect, and that's two independent low level systems that start to rotate around one another. So you're going to start to see that motion right there, that the Helene beginning to push further closer towards Tennessee, that upper level low, they're interacting with one another. And normally with this, there's two scenarios. They can either traject it away from each other or it can be absorbed, which we're going to see there showing on this futurecast pattern towards the weekend. So just something to note there. And that's also going to be leading to those increased rain chances towards the mid-south, us not included. So again, we have some steering in place for the system. That's what's helping it stay further away from us. The concern with some of these systems is always if there's not enough steering. That's where some of those questions come into play. But luckily, the upper atmosphere helping us out here in the Fox 10 viewing area. Now, the rip current risk, it's going to get rough out there. Heading into tomorrow, it bumps up to moderate by Thursday and Friday. It bumps up to high. Please stay out of the Gulf waters. Life-threatening surf out there. Stay safe. Just make sure that you're safe for yourself and also for others, especially those lifeguards out there. Timing things out in our futurecast, this is actually going to take us into tomorrow. So heading into today, plenty of sunshine. We start to notice more of those clouds beginning to develop heading into this afternoon and especially overnight. Isolated showers closer towards the Florida Panhandle overnight, and then things start to ramp up beginning really tomorrow afternoon is when we'll start to see more of those rain chances. Here's our look by lunchtime heading into Wednesday. Florida Panhandle looking at the highest chances to see some of that, and then we'll start to see more of that shower activity and storm activity begin to ramp up heading into the evening. So 4, 5, 6 o'clock, we'll see some of those showers and storms push through, and it'll really just come in waves continuing into Thursday as Helene approaches closer towards that landfall impact. So again, here in the Fox 10 viewing area, minimal impacts. We'll get some breezy winds, we'll get some rain heading into Wednesday and Thursday. Highest rain chances coming into play on Thursday with a dip in our temperatures. Really the thing that we're concerned about is going to be those rip current risks rough at our local beaches. Please stay out of the water if you're visiting us beginning Thursday and Friday. And then the weekend looking nice, upper 80s, plenty of sunshine and mostly dry through next week. I'll talk more about your forecast coming up on Fox 10 midday. More Studio 10 is on the way. We'll be right back after this. Tropical Storm Helene and is expected to become a major Category 3 hurricane before making landfall in the Florida Big Bend region on Thursday. I'll be breaking down more details and our local impacts coming up.
And straight ahead this morning, President Biden delivers his final United Nations General Assembly address as several conflicts rage around the world.
Plus, students heading back to the classroom today at Appalachia High School. Just weeks after a mass shooting there killed 4 people. Fox 10 Midday starts now.
First on the Gulf Coast with breaking news and weather. Fox 10 Midday starts now.
It is a Tuesday morning, September 24th. Thank you so much for joining us today for Fox 10 Midday. I'm Chelsea Sayasan.
And I'm Joe Emer. We need to start with the news of the day. We now have a tropical storm.
Yeah, Jen, what can you tell us about Helene?
So right now, guys, what we're tracking with Tropical Storm Helene, we did just get that new advisory update from the National Hurricane Center. At 10 a.m., the hurricane hunter went and investigated and found the center of the system and also some stronger winds sustained at 45 miles per hour, picked up some speed, tracking northwest at 12 miles per hour. Now, that was one major change in terms of the path. Not too many major changes with this, expecting it to possibly strengthen into that Category 1 hurricane just a little bit earlier, beginning tomorrow morning as it's pushing past Cozumel, exiting the Yucatan Peninsula, moving into the southern Gulf waters, and then still undergoing that rapid intensification between really Wednesday afternoon and into Thursday evening before it makes that landfall approach, becoming that significant and major Category 3 hurricane. Even something else to note, it is a favorable environment for this system, so we could possibly even see some stronger winds emerge from Helene as it does make that landfall approach. Now, here locally in the Fox 10 viewing area, we're on the west side of this system, so our impacts really going to be minimal. We're going to see some increased rain coverage heading into Wednesday and Thursday. We'll really start to notice some of that rough surf. That'll be the biggest concern down at our local beaches. Stay out of the Gulf waters as we get closer towards Wednesday and Thursday, and then also some breezy winds will be possible. Much different than Francine when we were on the east side of the system, but again, that's really where that landfall track is heading towards, closer towards Appalachia Bay. Still a little bit of wiggle room with that cone there, but it is beginning to get smaller. Forecast models are staying pretty consistent with that track that the National Hurricane Center has right there. But even then, all of those models currently outside of the Fox 10 viewing area, staying further off towards the east, keeping us on the west side of what is soon to be Hurricane Helene heading into tomorrow. Now let's time things out on the Futurecast model. This is going to be the GFS, so it really starts to show some of that strengthening once we get into tomorrow morning. It begins to push into the Gulf waters, and then just take a look at how quickly it's going to be moving through the Gulf waters heading into Thursday morning and even Thursday evening. I will say, I've been pointing it out just a little bit, the GFS model, it has that landfall approach just a little bit further towards the east than what the National Hurricane Center has as that center track. And also with this latest update, it even has it making landfall just a little bit later. This is that 9 p.m. timestamp, still keeps that center just offshore. But just a reminder, this is just one model. More of our questions will be answered, however, now that we have this center, and especially once it moves into the Gulf waters beginning tomorrow. Coming up in just a little bit, I'm going to talk more about our impacts here locally, what we can expect in the wake of this system, and also your weekend forecast. All of that is coming up soon. Joe.
All right, continuing that conversation, Jen, Florida could face the nation's hardest hitting hurricane this season, as you just saw. It comes as residents are still recovering from Storm Francine. Fox's Evan Brown has more from Miami, where the state is rushing to prepare for potential landfall Thursday night.
Nearly 2 weeks after Francine drenched the southeast, the region is bracing for another major hurricane. A system churning in the Caribbean Sea is expected to strengthen into Hurricane Helene later this week and potentially make landfall along the Florida Panhandle.
Everything popped up overnight, and I think it's going to surprise all of us.
Forecasters say this storm could pummel the state with damaging winds and storm surge as it approaches the coast. People in Florida's Big Bend region are filling up sandbags ahead of potential flooding, but officials there say it is also time to stock up on supplies.
Having your disaster supply kit home, having a way to get warnings and updates, and knowing what your plan is going to be.
Ahead of Helene, Governor Ron DeSantis declared an emergency for dozens of counties in the state. Public works crews have already been deployed to check pumping stations and storm infrastructure as communities brace for several inches of rain.
There's a lot of uncertainty with this storm, but the one thing that is certain is we are going to see some impacts.
Some folks who are still recovering from flooding caused by Hurricane Debbie last month are now bracing for potentially more water damage.
We're talking about moving that stuff from the garage to a storage unit because our garage goes underwater first. So then it's our house if that were to happen again.
Forecasters say Helene could bring strong winds and torrential rainfall to Georgia and the Carolinas on Friday. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
And as we continue to track the threat of Helene in the Gulf, Florida residents are preparing right now as we speak. Fox 10 News reporter Stephen Moody is live this morning in Pensacola with more. And Stephen, the city of Pensacola has already released some really helpful information.
Yeah, that's right. Good morning. We're here at one of those locations where the city is offering sand for residents to actually pack up sandbags. We're here at John Jones Jr. Athletic Park here in Pensacola. And like you just heard, this is one of the counties, one of the 41 counties where Governor Ron DeSantis has declared a state of emergency, along with Santa Rosa County and Okaloosa County as well. Now, Escambia County, like I mentioned, has released a list of several locations where you can fill up those sandbags. We'll have a list of that over on our website later, and these locations are open 24 hours on a first come first served basis. Now, there are other ways to prepare, and we caught up with a new Florida resident who says she's getting ready the best way she can.
I have my important papers. I have 3 dogs. They're all ready to go. I have food. I have a gas stove, so if the electricity does go out, at least I have my gas. I have a generator. I have my flashlights and my batteries, and that's all I really know because I've not experienced anything yet. And if all else fails, I have a minivan and I can leave the state.
And we have more tips on how you can prepare over on our website right now at fox10tv.com. You can always download the Fox 10 Storm Tracker app as well, which is free on whatever app store you use. We'll have more coming up, but for now, reporting live here in Pensacola, Stephen Moody, Fox 10 News.
Stephen, thanks. And many boat owners along the northern Gulf Coast are already taking precautions. The team at the wharf is preparing the docks and taking reservations for transient vessels. Meanwhile, down the road, Orange Beach Hardware is stocked up on tarps, generators, and batteries, and have been since the beginning of hurricane season. The store manager says customers are aware there's a storm brewing to the south.
Most of our customers that come in here aren't talking about it too much. They kind of know it's out there and they're waiting. So just waiting to see what happens.
If you haven't already, emergency leaders say now is a good time to stock up on supplies since we have about 2 more months to go until hurricane season, or this hurricane season.
Right. All right. Well, you just saw that QR code at the bottom right of your screen. That will be up in just a little bit as we continue Fox 10 Midday and all of our shows here at Fox 10. That's going to take you to download the Fox 10 weather app. You guys, this is the app you want to have in case of a hurricane, as we're talking about right now, or if we have a beautiful sunny day as well. Let me just show you one of the really cool things that this app has. So here we are at Fox 10 News, this blue dot in Mobile. As you can see, we have a really beautiful day so far, but if you zoom out, we start to see that cone of uncertainty. We can even see landfall projected as a Cat 3 there in the Florida Big Bend area. So this is what you want to have if you do live near Panama City Beach, or if you've got family or friends in the area. Again, hopefully we will stay out of that cone of uncertainty as the days continue, but if you just want an hour-by-hour forecast, we've got that there too, with really cool things that this app can do. So we're going to have everything you need to know about the Fox 10 weather app on our website, fox10tv.com. Again, we're going to have that QR code up in just a little bit so you can download it right now. Joe.